In the days immediately following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the European public assumed the crisis would pass. People expected peace to hold. Behind closed doors, the reality was entirely different. Government officials and military commanders worked through the night. Telegrams crossed borders constantly. Generals quietly unlocked safes to pull out classified war plans. While ordinary citizens anticipated a localized punishment for Serbia, the countdown to a global conflict was already moving. Austria-Hungary spent the month after the assassination preparing something much larger than a measured diplomatic response. They were mapping out an invasion. But before marching on Serbia, Vienna needed to know what would happen if the Russian Empire stepped in to defend its ally. On July 5, 1914, Germany provided the answer. Kaiser Wilhelm II offered his ally absolute, unconditional military backing. No hesitation, regardless of the consequences. Historians call this the blank check. By removing the threat of Russian retaliation, Germany gave Austria-Hungary the cover it needed to spring the trap. This graphic breaks down the ultimatum Austria-Hungary finally delivered to Serbia on July 23. It contained 10 specific demands. On paper, several points seem standard for a diplomatic crisis. Vienna wanted anti-Austrian groups dissolved and officials tied to the assassination arrested. But the document contained a deliberate poison pill. Point 6 demanded that Austrian authorities be allowed to conduct their own investigations and legal proceedings directly inside Serbia. Agreeing to this meant giving up their legal independence. Refusing it guaranteed an attack by the Austro-Hungarian army. British, French, and Russian diplomats spent 48 hours frantically pushing for international negotiations to cool the temperature. Those efforts failed because the ultimatum operated exactly as Vienna intended. It was engineered for rejection. Serbia's reply shocked the continent. They agreed to nearly every demand, offering a highly conciliatory response. Because the Serbians held firm on the single issue of their national sovereignty, Austria-Hungary immediately dismissed the reply. On July 28, exactly 1 month after the shots in Sarajevo, Austria officially declared war. Hours later, artillery shells tore through the sky above the Serbian capital. The diplomatic phase was dead. The crisis was now an active combat zone. Striking Serbia immediately tripped the hidden wire on Europe's rigid alliance system. Russia stepped in to defend its smaller neighbor. The Russian Tsar ordered immediate full mobilization. Millions of reservists began boarding trains, moving weapons and manpower toward the borders. For Germany, this vast movement of troops was a direct threat. If the massive Russian army fully organized itself, German forces would be overwhelmed. Leaders stopped making diplomatic decisions. Military timetables took over, pulling the major powers into an automatic sequence of escalation. Driven by a rapidly closing window, Germany officially declared war on Russia on August 1st. Germany was trapped between Russia and France. To survive, the Schlieffen Plan dictated a rapid knockout blow against France, allowing the army to pivot east before Russia fully mobilized. But bypassing French defenses required sending hundreds of thousands of troops straight through neutral Belgium. Belgium's neutrality was guaranteed by international treaties. Reaching their borders ensured Britain would enter the fight. One military objective automatically triggered the next, stripping away diplomatic options and locking the continent's major armies into an irreversible collision course. The unconditional promise Germany made to Austria-Hungary had matured, dragging the entire continent into a total war.